What's happening? Good evening to you. A little bit of a late edition of the Dog Food Radio Show. We doing not really a post game. You know what I'm saying? You probably already seen your post games, and we a day late on that, so we not even gonna worry about that. What we're gonna talk about today is that the team looks bad. They 1-4, but the season is not over. It's not over. There's no need to panic. And I know everybody is saying that the house is on fire, and it's a lot of. There's no time to panic, and the offense does not look good right now across the board. I can't give nobody no glaring remarks. Nobody can. Defense is still the strength of this team, and even though you at 1-4, you only 2 games back in the division. They still got a lot of time to fix what the issue is. I don't know how long you've been following the show, but I've been saying since the offseason, Stefanski got to give up the play calling. In case you're new to that, I think I got some percentages here real quick. See what you got here. That's not what I want to show. Win percentages. That's what we want to show right here. This is just for the AFC North, in case you're not familiar. From 2020 to 2023, when you score over 20 points, you see that Stefanski is dead last compared to his contemporaries in games that they score over 20 points. You see when he scores under 20 points, he's in third place. What I'm saying, that's below average in each category. You see that it's Tomlin and Harbaugh are the 2 top coaches in the division, in case you ain't been following that. Also, if you haven't been following it, Stefanski's never had a top 15 passing offense, I don't think, in his career. I think the highest has been is like 19th. So all these people talking about he's a brilliant offensive mind, the stats don't prove it, at least passing wise. You understand? Now, what I want to show here is, and why I say that the ceiling, I don't know if you can see the title of the show, the ceiling of this team has been reached. You have 5 years. We're actually going to go back to about 18 or so. I know that's before Stefanski got there, but I'm going to show a graph. 10 years from 14 to 24. We're not even going to count 1999 and all that, because none of that really matters. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go back 10 years. So let's get that pulled up real quick. And let's hit play on that. So in 2014, you got 7 games right there. 2015, you got 3 games. 2016, as you know, 1 game. 17, no games. 18, what's that? I think that's another 7 games. You got to excuse me. Now my eyes want to itch. My bad. Let's see. 19. What you got? 6 games. 20, 11 games. 21, 8 games. 22. What was that? 7 games. And then 23, 11 games. And right now in 2024, they're sitting at 1 game. I don't know why my eyes want to itch now that I go live. So my bad on that. Now, it's not going to let me draw on the screen where y'all can see it. So I wish I was able to show a cursor. But I don't know if we got anybody that invests any stock market people. But if you start at 14 to 17, you got a downward line right there. And then it bounces back up 17 to 18. And then you'll notice if we start from 18 to 23, you basically have a dip, then a peak. You have another dip, and then you have another peak. This 11-game win season right here, that is essentially the ceiling that you have with this team. And you'll know that in both of these 11 win game seasons, they didn't win the division, right? It's going to take you about 12 to 13 wins in this division to win the division. And so if you average out the 7 wins in 18, the 8 wins in 18, no, 7 wins in 18, the 6 wins in 19, 11 wins in 20, 8 wins in 21, 7 wins in 22, 11 wins in 23. That comes out to 8.33. So about 8 wins a season since 18. That's average. It's right at average. If this was a 16-game season, you'd be talking about 8-8. Now, 8-8 is better than 0-16. It's better than 1-15. You understand? But 8 wins on average ain't gonna get it done. You got to find a way to bump that up to 10 to 11 wins on average. And I argue that right now, with the current leadership, with Kevin Stefanski at the head, I think you've seen the ceiling. I think you've seen the ceiling with Andrew Berry. You feel me? His draft picks, they're more missed than hit. You feel me? Kevin Stefanski has had a number one pick in Baker Mayfield, and he's had a carousel of quarterbacks with the consensus among most people saying that Joe Flacco looked the best in his offense. Again, I don't know why my eyes are itching right now. So I don't understand where people say that Kevin Stefanski is this brilliant mind. Yeah, he's a two-time coach of the year, but let's keep it 110%. That's largely predicated on the defense. If you look at the 2020 season, the 2023 season, the defense was playing well. The run game was a little bit better, a lot better, really, because you had a healthier Chubb. You understand? So what Browns fans have to, what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to, number one, temper expectations, because you've never had a Kansas City Chiefs type offense. You've never had that, at least in the past. In the run, you've had that. In the past, you've never had that since 18. You've never had that. So I don't know where people are getting that from. But I think that the current regime, and really Dorsey before them, they've laid a good foundation. You need somebody that can step in and take you to the next level, whoever that is. I'm not going to throw out no names because really, I don't know. I just be speculating. But I think the Browns have reached that point where I don't think that the offense, because if you look at it on paper, they have the pieces on offense. I still think that the focus in the draft, focus in free agency, the focus even this season, I think they need to make a trade defensively. I really think they need another corner. I really do. I think they need another corner, somebody that is comparable to a Denzel Ward, so that your trio is Ward, whoever the second corner is, and Newsome. I think that'll help bolster the defense tremendously. Linebacker wouldn't hurt either. Maybe another edge wouldn't hurt either. But I think they need another playmaker defensively. And I think that'll do wonders, because right now, to save this season, if you're looking at the sides of the ball, who's going to give you the most immediate returns? It's going to be the defense. The defense is going to give you the most immediate returns. The defense it has the least amount to fix, because if you think about how the offense can't move the ball up and down the field, that is putting more pressure on your defense. Let's pause real quick for break, and we're going to wrap this up. All right, now we back. All right. So as you can see here, again, I wish I could draw on the screen. And really, you can kind of throw out 14 if you like. But 14, downward trend. You're basically getting into a rebuild. 18 was essentially your rebuild. Successful rebuild, if we're looking at that. Then you see you have a peak, you have a dip, then you have a peak. And if they run the table, they push you at 13-4. Right? To make the playoffs, they're going to need 9 wins, probably 10. So 9 wins push you at what? No, 9 wins ain't gonna get it done. Probably a wild card, but that's 8 losses. So for them to go 9-8, you got 4 more losses. You can lose 4 more times. So again, it's not over, but they got to fix what I think can or give a boost to what can save the season, and that's going to be the defense, right? And then hopefully, if you can do that, if you can supercharge the defense, that'll allow the offense to play catch up. Now let's just make a couple of comments about the offense. I'm not really gonna tolerate a lot of hate or slander or whatever for really anybody on the team, because I think they all out there busting their ass. You know what I'm saying? And putting their life on the line, because football is a violent game. We understand that. But is the starting quarterback playing well? No, he's not. Let's just keep it 100. Is he getting a lot of help from his supporting cast? No, he's not. Let's keep that 100. Is he getting a lot of support from the coaching staff? Head coach, that is. I would say no. I would say no. So this is if you're talking about the offense and how anemic the offense looks, it's a totality. Kevin Stefanski said it in his press conference. It's a team thing. Everybody has to do better offensively. So this is also a lesson, and this is also why I say that the ceiling has been reached, because in the offseason, they really, aside from the Judy trade, they really didn't do anything to try to bolster the offense. And you had all those free agent running backs that were on the market. You say Saquon Barkley's, Derrick Henry's, Josh Jacobs. I want to say Austin Eckler was probably out there. And there's probably 3 or 4 more that I'm forgetting. And you had the opportunity to upgrade what you had at forward, that who you was going to be going into the season with, and basically bring back Chubb to basically have a 1-2 punch. And you let Baltimore basically get Derrick Henry. A lot of people said that he lost a step. That's obviously not true. And you're seeing what happens when we'll say Andrew Berry in this example, the GM thinks that they're good, and you're seeing it. You're seeing the evidence that no, you really wasn't good, because last year's success is not indicative of tomorrow's success. So we all drank the Kool-Aid. We all believed the hype that we saw in 23 with 5 quarterbacks. And let's just be honest, they won a lot of games last year that they probably should have lost. San Francisco missed a field goal at the end of the game in Indianapolis. Kevin Stefanski was dialing the pass plays on the 2 or 3 yard line, and I think one of them almost got intercepted, or there was a turnover that almost happened. So they were winning a lot of games, close games, that could have went either way. And if you think about the first 4 games of this season, minus the Dallas game and obviously the Commanders game, the Raiders game could have went either way and they lost. The Jacksonville game could have went either way and they won. So they're not getting the same bounces. They're not getting the same calls, the same luck that they got last year. So, and sometimes that happens, but you know how you fix that? You execute better. You catch the football, you eliminate the penalties, you stay locked in, and you actually have a strategy. Because I don't think that Kevin Stefanski is scheming schematically, is attacking the defense to where somebody is coming open. Because I've watched 4 games. I don't know who they're trying to attack. Washington had a bottom third passing defense, and they looked elite on Sunday. So again, the season is not over. Season's not over. 1-4. A lot of people thought they'd be 4-1, at least 500. But Steelers are what, 3-2. Bengals are 1-4. Ravens are 3-2. So you're right there. You're only 2 games back. There's no need to panic. But again, if you look at this graph, this is average. This is the ceiling that I'm talking about. 11 wins is your ceiling, and 7 to 8 wins is your floor. Because let's just be honest. If they have a piss poor, abysmal year, the floor for them is between 6 to 8 games. That's the floor. They're not going 3-14. That's not happening. I don't believe that that's happening. Not with that defense. So they have to, they don't want to get on my argument. And Browns fans, you shouldn't want them to get back on this quarterback carousel thing where it's like, we got to find a quarterback. We got to find a quarterback. We got to find a quarterback, because it really don't work like that. Look at what Carolina did to get Bryce Young. Hadn't worked. Look at what the Browns did to get Deshaun Watson. It was aggressive, and I applaud their aggression, but as of right now, it hasn't worked. Maybe it can still work, and think it happened, but it hasn't worked. So giving up all your assets or making a blockbuster trade to try to shore up the quarterback position. Look at what the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, I don't know how much they gave up to get them, but it really don't work that way. You got to bolster your defense. And right now they have an excellent A+ defense right now. I think they just need a piece here or a piece there to solidify it and supercharge it, and then go into the draft. It should be the same mindset. because defense in the AFC North, because right now none of the defense aside for, I say Pittsburgh looked okay against Dallas, but I would go on the limb and say right now the top two defenses in the AFC North is Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore, and then Cincinnati would be last. This is how I've been seeing the games. I'll be watching the games. I don't know. I'd be eager to know what y'all think. But I'm going to land my plane there. I'm going to wrap it up on that piece. The ceiling has been reached with the Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry regime. The ceiling has been reached because Andrew Berry is the one, all y'all that don't like the Watson signing or trade and all that, Andrew Berry signed off on it. And based on my understanding, Kevin Stefanski didn't have no problem with it. So if you have a problem with them getting him, you should have a problem with the people that signed off on it as well. I have no problem with it because I thought it was an aggressive move. I feel like, you were trying to hit a home run. Hadn't really worked out right now. But look at Sam Darnold. Look at Baker Mayfield. Sometimes it's just the system. So offensively, they got some work to do. But there's no need to panic. I know it's frustrating and it sucks, but there's no need to panic. This is not one of the worst teams in the league. Like, because you notice, and I'm gonna wrap this up because we have 16 minutes. You notice that the media doesn't cover the Browns. They waited. They didn't cover the Browns when they beat Jacksonville. They said nothing about it. They really didn't cover them when they lost to the Raiders. I didn't see a lot of segments on it because Sean played decent. They dropped some balls. There was some missed penalties and some, plays that got called back. So they didn't cover that. They waited until they had their worst game of the season because Sunday was their worst game of the season. And now everybody wants to talk about it. I don't know why the media uses Cleveland as their doormat, but for some reason, Cleveland fans kind of feed into it and feed into the narrative. It's a stupid problem to have, and it's a bad problem. It's a bad situation to be in because they dug themselves into a hole. But if you know what you have from an asset perspective, right? It's kind of like you ride luxury cars. You go and buy a Lambo, and maybe it needs a new transmission. You're not going to throw $250,000 down the drain because you bought a Lambo that need a new transmission. Because if you got $250,000 to blow, you're just going to get the transmission fixed. You feel me? It ain't going to be no sunk cost because there ain't a dealership in the world going to even give you half that. You feel me? Because they're going to do the same thing. They just going to lowball you, fix the transmission, and then bam, they back riding clean. So it's hard to do, but in times of crises, you've got to be cool, stay level-headed, and allow the professionals to try to right the wrong. Because again, it's the Stefanski's is ultimately the responsibility falls on him to get it fixed. And if he can't get it fixed, I don't know. Some of y'all put a lot of currency into them 2-time coach of the years. I personally don't put a lot of currency into that. It's not 2 Super Bowls. Zach Taylor went to a Super Bowl, the Bengals coach. I don't know how many coach of the years he got. Which one weighs higher? We'll end on that note. Appreciate y'all if y'all joined in on that. Sorry if it was a little bit long-winded. Yeah, I don't know who they got this week. The Eagles. Eagles coming off a bye. That's gonna be a rough one. That's gonna be a rough one, but we'll see. It's definitely a must-win, no doubt about it. But we'll see how it go. So I know we're gonna talk about it. We'll probably make our predictions at sometime later in the week. So Dog Food Radio, you can get your merch at dogfoodstore.com. Shout out to the Fanatical L's Fans First Network. And we'll catch y'all on the next one.